Okay.
So so the software is has several modules or functionalities. Um, One of these functionalities is the donor management, then the patient management, and then some search functionality and the communication with international registries. Okay, these are the main functions,
Oh,
I would say.
okay. The
The
EMDIS is the one linked with other
Yeah,
international.
that's the international communication protocol that belongs to WMDA, and this protocol is used for inter-system communication between different countries in that run unrelated international unrelated registries. Okay,
Mhm.
so in the donor management, basically the registry starts and records data that are produced first by the Orpheus system, which means the HLA typing results of unrelated donors, and also data from the cord blood bank, like also HLA data, and also the information about the frozen cord blood units in the repository, and also personal details that belong to the donor center, like the contact details of the donor and medical details, infection disease markers, and so on. So the database of donors, you have the several functionalities how to find the donor in the system. So you can search for the donor by multiple criteria, date of birth, name, social security number, ISBT code, or a registry ID. And when you select the donor or the cord blood unit, both donors and cord blood units are included in the system. So the system can show not only adult donors but also the cord blood bank, which means the released cord blood units. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if there is an unrelated cord blood bank in Abu Dhabi, but in other countries in the region there are some unrelated banks. So when you open the donor record, you can see some basic screen, the basic data about the donor. This screen and many other screens in the system can be customized. Okay, so different registries and countries show different data on the donor. If you go to 10 different countries and ask them what they want to store and record in the system on the donor profile, you get 10 different answers. So in the end, we have about more than 500 fields in the donor record in the system. And when we do the deployment of the system in the registry, we allow users to choose which fields they are interested in, and then we focus the screens, not only the data view screens, but also the data change screens. So this kind of form can be completely customized.
Okay.
Some registries record in the system only the basic information like HLA, date of birth, gender, infection disease markers, blood group. But other registries record also very specific items like information about the samples, or care data, or CCR5 data, or contact details, uh, additional medical information, or medical questionnaire, and other things. Okay. So this is just an example of the data entry screen with the basic information like identification of the donor. Then you have the medical information like number of pregnancies, transfusions, if you have DNA sample available, status of the donor, address of the donor, and contact details, DNA information about the donor, serology typing results if you have infection disease markers. And if it's cord blood, also the basic information about the cord bloods, and care data, CCR5 results, and other fields. But as I said, there are much more fields hidden in the database, and if the registry is interested to use them, they can be presented in the screens. The system has also several checks and warnings, and this can be also partially customized. So you can set up some data quality checks you want to achieve in the donor database.
Okay.
Except the donor data, you can have multiple additional like entities for the storage. You can also have the management of the DNA and blood samples in the freezers.
Mhm.
You can you can you can you can manage the freezers and like you know the maps of the freezers. You can manage the requests coming in for the donor and other point of view on the requests. You can add additional like PDF files to the donor profile. So if you have a donor registration form or consent form of the donor with the signature of the donor, you can scan it as a PDF file and attach it to the donor profile. That's the place. You can write unlimited text and the comments to the donor profile, like if the donor called you and you want to record some information about the communication with the donor, that's the place. You can also record additional comments for the donor-patient pair, like donor selection comment or note.
Okay.
You can
You say that the patient is the patient of the donor is going to donate the information from the other side.
Or like this could be know that this donor is a backup donor for a specific patient. So you can make a note here, and you will see the note from both sides, from the patient side and also from the donor side. Okay. Invoicing. So you can here you can have a list of invoices that are linked to the donor record. Relationships is a possibility to book donor to donor relationships, like a family relationships in some registries. When you recruit the whole family, you can keep some family links between the donor records. Letters. These are letters. These are letters with like sent to the donors. If you have a contact details, email addresses, and so on. Collections, these are finally when the donor is selected, you can create like a collection record, and you can. There is quite a lot of fields for the stem cell collection coordination, and in the end, you have also the follow-up records. So the donor follow-up record. How the donor feels after the collection. Okay. I will show you the donor search later. This is of course important functionality, so I have skipped the search, but we'll show it later. So this is basically the donor record functionality. Very briefly, you have also the reporting functions. The system has quite a lot of reports that have been developed for other registries. You can print some basic information about the donor, but there are some additional reports like the statistics of the donors in the registry, and quite a lot of other reports. Here you can see the history. This is like auditing trail, something like HIPAA in the US.
Mm-hmm.
Stack is a possibility to put multiple donors together and then print them in the reports. BMDW edition is an option to export data to the international registry called the BMDW. Have you heard about BMDW before?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the interface to BMDW. Okay, exporting data to BMDW.
Is BMDW and WMDA similar? They are not similar things.
Yeah, they are now together as one organization. Yeah.
Okay. BMDW mainly work on database.
Yes.
Right. WMDA only take care of the registry.
Yeah, that it's umbrella. It's association that organizes international data product exchange.
Okay. So they are one
Yeah.
umbrella.
Okay. So so this is basically the functionality for the donors. Then we have also the analytic tools. Analytic tools is a function to something like an ad hoc query tool or a statistics tool where you can use it to make your own queries and your own um, reports out of the donor database. Basically, you can add any column of the donor record into the table, and then you can do like, for example, the blood group, and then you can do the filtering, and you can see the statistics, how many donors you have with specific property or query. Okay. And this is used for preparing WMD annual statistics as requested by the WMD organization once a year to its member, or it's also useful when you want to know how many donors you have recruited last year, how many donors have specific age, and how many donors have specific HLA type, how many donors have email address, and so on. And then this report, once you select, filter, sort the table like in an Excel spreadsheet, you can export the data into the spreadsheet or print them. Okay, so this is basically the donor database, the management of donors. Any questions so far? Okay, so let's go to the patient module. In the patient module, you have very similar management of patients. You can create new patients, you can edit patients, or I will pick up a patient that already exists in the system.
Okay.
So the
They
patient.
normally come in as a request.
Sorry.
Even if you link with EMDIS, some patients from outside of the country they will come in as a request, and then you have to accept them.
Yeah. Yes. So we have three types of patients. Like we have three types of donors. Okay. You have the national donors, which means the donors from Abu Dhabi registry. Then you have international donors coming to the system via MDIS interface. So these are automatically injected to the system by MDIS protocol. Or you have third-party donors that from the registries that are not linked to you via electronic communication, and these donors can be entered manually to the system. So also for the donors, you can create a new local adult donor or new foreign other donor. And for the patients, it's the same. So you have local donors, which means donors that you are responsible for the international donor searches. Then you have international patients, which means these are patients that are coming electronically to the system via MDIS interface. And then you have a patients that are international patients, but were received via fax or other communication channel, and you have to enter them manually to the system. So all three kinds of patients. For national, I will show now. This is an example of the national patient. Okay. You are responsible for the international donor searches. So again, you have some basic information about the patient, and this can be customized. You can change the patient details, and this is just an example of the data entry screen. This can be completely customized, and we have in the database about like 150 fields you can choose from, and you can redesign the data entry forms according to your needs. But in this example, I have the basic like identification of the patient. I have the medical information, and I have serology data of the patient and DNA data, DNA test results. So based on the DNA HLA data provided, the system will run the donor searches. To run the donor searches in MDIS, which means not only in my registry, but to run the searches in all international registries I'm connected to, you simply change the status of the donor to active. When you activate the patient, when you activate the patient, you activate the patient in all these registries you are connected to. So on the right side here, you can see the list of registries I am connected to. And US is, for example, the NMDP. Uh, GE is Germany. GB is Anthony Noland and other registries. At the moment, there are about 35 MDIS registries I can be connected to. So one of the key features of the software is that it's able to communicate via MDIS interface to large international registries. When you activate the patient, all these registries will automatically start the search for this patient, including my own registry, including the Prometheus software. And finally, at the end of the day, I will get the full search results for this patient in MDIS search result list. So when I load the search results, it will show me one big table of the matching or reported patient donors. And in this table, I can see the donors from multiple countries. This is NMDP, this is Germany, this is Austria, this is Italy, and others. And I can see their HLA information. I can see additional details of these donors. And I can place, sort, filter of these search results by multiple criteria. As you can see, there are much more fields in the database you can add to the table, and you can do additional filtering.
Okay.
So you can also do more sophisticated filtering by HLA. So I want to, for example, filter only. I want to see only donors with the antigen mismatch on the locus A. So you can set such a filter, and filter such donors or regular match program without mismatches and additional filtering. So there are quite a lot of options, and of course you can do the filtering by any column here. So I want to see only adult donors and only male donors, and I want to see the youngest first. So you can do additional filtering as you like. And then as a next step, you would print out the report. So the system can, this is like a standard search report that you would print out, and yeah, this is the patient, and this is the list of potential donors for the patient.
Okay.
Such list you would print out or save as PDF and provide it to the transplant physicians for further consultations or selections of donors that will be activated in the donor search. Or there is an option to, because the report I've shown you has 14 pages. Okay. So there is an option to make like a custom report. You can select the best international matching donors, put them on the right side, and then filter only one registry, let's say the national registry, and put the best matching donor on the right side, and then you can print out the only small report showing the best international donors and the best national donors on one page of the report. So there are some more sophisticated tools how to pre-select the matching donors before you provide the report to the physician. Okay, so you provide the report to the physician, and you can also make some notes to these donors. By the way, if I print the custom report, I can switch also the notes on, and you will see this is a backup donors, this unit, something. So you can highlight or make some notes for the physicians or transplant centers that can help them with the selection of the donor. As the next step, usually you would request a blood sample for the verification typing in your lab. So you would select the donor, and you have several options to request the typing, further typing of the donor, or request the sample, or request the cord blood unit request if this is a cord blood unit, or request the infection disease markers. For requesting the sample, it's very easy. You just click on the sample request, select which institution will pay the request, where to send the sample, and then you specify what kind of product you request. So let's say heparin, 15 milliliters, 1 tube, EDTA, 10 milliliters, 2 tubes. So in this way, you would select which product you request, and you would send out. I've just sent it out a demonstration sample request to Germany. So very easy. I'm disconnected, so this kind of communication is very easy. And in the history of messages for this patient, I will see the full communication regarding this patient with other international registries. For the sample request can be printed in the standard form or in WMD form. So the standard form would look like this, for example. Or infection disease marker request. You can save it as PDF or print it on the printer, and the system will automatically send the request to Germany, and you can follow up the transaction history.
Okay.
Except these.
Do you say that, let's say many registry has been set up that way? Do they still prefer them fax, or they do this and is mainly tracked by the electronic system here, like the EMDIS, and you do not really need any more paper record?
Yeah, so at the moment, 85% of all donors worldwide are connected to the MD system. So it's normal. All large organizations use the electronic tracking of the requests.
So there's no paper at all. They don't even submit a request with paper, EMDIS.
No, they have. If you want to communicate via MD's protocol, you have to have a software like Prometheus that can do the communication.
Yes.
So the Prometheus software has the management of all pending requests, and not only with international registries but also with national registries. So basically, what you do on paper is moved to Prometheus, the management of the requests.
Okay. But this is not like an email system. If you want to get an update from the other registry.
Yeah, if you request something for other registries, this system allows you to do electronic requests. Is this what you ask for, or?
Sorry, I was distracted. I think this is not exactly the email system, right?
Yeah, it's kind of email system, but the messages are not email messages, but they are defined by international organization called WMDA, and these emails are encrypted, so no third party can see them because they contain sensitive information. And there is a well-defined like communication protocol, what has to be replied on what kind of request. So it's not just a simple email. It's a messaging system between information systems, and yeah, this protocol is called MDIS.
Can you show me an example, like an ongoing the one that you haven't received, you're waiting for a result, then you'll be sent out from here.
I can hardly hear you. Can you repeat it?
Oh, can you show me one message like you have many here? Can you show me what one look like?
Yeah, the messages.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the request. Yeah, it is. Yes.
yeah. The sample request includes
I
sample
see.
request includes like who is requesting, who is receiving the request, patient identification, donor identification, request date, and what has been requested.
Okay, I see.
And
Just, just
this set of fields is a standard. It's like the second part they understand this standard.
okay. Got it.
Okay. Okay, so that's the management of the requests. Here in MDIS folder, you can see the management of local patient requests, which means the national patients, local patient results, international patient requests. So these are the requests of international patients for national donors. Local international patients results. These are the results of the requests for national donors and international patients. And finally, you can manage here also internal requests, which are the requests for national patients and the national donors. So it's like a local loop. And national results, which are the results for national patients and national donors. And the system can manage also the international requests coming not via MDIS, but coming on paper or via fax. And these are the local patient requests. So these are the requests for national patients, for international donors that have to be sent not electronically, but via fax, for example. So altogether, it's a complete picture about the international communication, international and national communication and management of requests for the search-related requests.
Is there at all, but just, let's say, sorry, I know this is a software, commercial software, but if there are some country or some registry, like you say, yeah, they still on paper, they're still using paper. They have built their own. If anyone understands the EMDIS protocol, they pretty much can build a, a software. They don't really have to use this software. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm just saying, yeah, just
Yeah.
saying, understand how to
So if
check
yeah. So if you ask about the landscape of information systems that are available in this field, so many you don't have to use MDIS communication. Okay, so you can manage your donors in Excel spreadsheet if you like, but then you will not be MDIS enabled, and you will still be able to communicate via email, fax, or whatever with other registries, but you will lose quite a lot of benefits, and also you will lose quite a lot of business because what I've tried to show you, it's very, very easy to pick up, like I run the MD search and I get back international donors from all countries, okay?
Yes.
So this is the international search result.
Yep.
If your registry, Abu Dhabi registry, is not here in this result, then these donors are somehow excluded from quite a lot of international donor searches.
That's true.
And also, even if the donor is found by BMDW or other system, it's still quite a lot of lot of work to request additional sample because you have to fill in the form in writing. you have to send it to the fax machine. You have no tracking of the request. But here I've shown you how it's very easy to send the sample request or the typing request. So, and all of this is communicated by a standard MDIS protocol. It's an international standard, and then you are sure that nothing is lost. So,
for sure. And that's the reason why this software cover and there's so many people are using it.
yeah. So that's a reason why it's beneficial if you plan a registry from scratch. Then it's highly recommended to communicate via MDIS. Of course, you have some registries that are not connected to MDIS yet, but at least all registries even in the Middle East region uh, are connected or plan to be connected to MDIS sooner or later.
Yep.
Okay. And regarding the software for MDIS is a protocol. It's a protocol written in the document. So theoretically, you like NMDP or Germany, they have their own software systems. So they have implemented this protocol themselves. So that's the reason. That's the reason why Prometheus software can communicate with the German system or NMDP system.